Hey there, designers. If you're watching this, you're probably a font junkie like myself. Of course, there's nothing actually wrong with that, but it can get a little overwhelming. Fortunately, there are several easy ways to filter and organize fonts. In this video, we'll take a quick look at downloading fonts from Design Cuts along with font licensing, then dive into manually organizing font files, both premium and free font management solutions, and how to filter fonts within your design software. After logging into your Design Cuts account, you will automatically be taken to your downloads. You can also get there from Account Your Downloads. Under your downloads, you'll see a filter on the left that's set to all downloads by default. You can use this to filter by any font purchase you've ever made at Design Cuts. If you click on the thumbnail next to a purchased font, a new window will open with the full overview page. The View Files button will show you the downloadable file associated with that product without taking you to a different page, and PDF Invoice will automatically download the invoice to your computer. At the top left of the page, you'll see categories to browse for new assets. You can click on Fonts to view all available fonts, or hover over it to see a further breakdown of the category by style, which includes display, sans serif, script, serif, and Japanese fonts. You can also search using the search bar at the top right. Licensing is not exactly the fun part of fonts, but it's important to understand. Many free fonts are for personal use only. Using these in a client project could result in additional costs, litigation, and even a loss of trust with your client, which obviously nobody wants. On the plus side, any fonts purchased through Design Cuts come with an extended license to protect you, your company, and your clients. Now that you have your font files, let's take a look at how to organize them. As with any organizational system, you want to keep your folder structure as simple and broad as possible without hindering your ability to find specific files. It's also important to note that these tips do not apply to system fonts because they're basically integrated into the system, and moving or renaming them could create all kinds of havoc. So I like to start by dividing my fonts by basic license. This way, I'm less likely to use a personal use only font for a commercial project. From there, I divide by style. I've divided into 5 main categories that mirror the same categories on Design Cuts: dingbats, display, sans serif, script, and serif. If I have a large variety of fonts in a category like display, I'll further divide it by theme, so let's take a look at that breakdown. Here I have Antique pre-1950. This will include everything from medieval to Art Nouveau and Art Deco, from blackletter to 1940s advertising fonts. If you specialize in any of these areas and have, for example, a ton of Art Deco fonts, you may want to bypass the larger category and break it into more specific folders by decade. Next, we have cartoon and comics, fairly self-explanatory. This category includes the types of fonts you'd see in comics and cartoons. Next is futuristic. This will be any fonts with techno square LCD style letters. After that, we have horror. Horror fonts tend to not fit easily into other categories, so I've given them their own. This would be the type of spiky font you might see for Dracula, or the drippy font you'd use for a swamp creature, stuff like that. Then we have illustrative. This category is good to hold a variety of styles that are more art than text, like highly decorative initials or even graffiti style. Next, we have modern. This could also be considered a miscellaneous category. This is for fonts that don't specifically fit into a theme or time frame, but are still display fonts as opposed to standard sans serif or serif fonts. After that, we have retro, which is what I'm calling post-1950. This category holds fonts from the 1950s, groovy 60s, disco 70s, super rad 80s, grungy 90s, and maybe even some ravey 2000s, which kind of makes me feel old. Again, you can break these down by decade if that works better for you. After that, we have stencil. This category can hold fonts that are specifically created for use as stencils, or just fonts that are in the style of stencils, such as military or sports themes. The only other category that I'll break down further is script. This will be divided between calligraphic and handwritten. Again, if you work with a lot of handwritten fonts, you may want to divide it instead by more specific categories like whimsical, kids, etc. And if you work in multiple languages, you'll probably want to make folders for each language that uses different alphabets. If you use a lot of those, you may want to break those down by style as well. At this point, you can copy all of the empty folders in Purchased and paste them into personal use only. And your manual system is pretty much set up. For the most control over your fonts, font management software is the way to go. In general, it helps your programs run more efficiently by easily allowing you to limit the number of active fonts and make sorting and searching quick and painless. There are plenty of premium options that come loaded with helpful features. The downside, of course, is that they do come with a cost. A couple of options I've personally worked with are Stencil Suitcase and Font Explorer. Let's take a look at a breakdown of the pros and cons. Extensive Suitcase Fusion is provided as a subscription service at $84 US per year and offers a 15-day free trial. The pros here: works with Mac or PC, easy organization and activation of fonts, includes auto activation and integration of fonts with Adobe Creative Cloud and Sketch, plus drag and drop support for Affinity products, detects issues such as duplicates and other conflicts, includes font previews. You can create sets and organize by style, project, or any other custom parameters. It includes advanced features like font matching and cloud sync. You automatically have access to software updates as they become available since you're on a subscription service. Customer service is available via email and chat, and a response can usually be expected within 1 business day. On the cons, many longtime users prefer the interface design of older versions of the software and find the newer versions to be less intuitive. Auto activation only works with Creative Cloud from 2018 or newer. Subscription model requires ongoing costs for continued access, of course, and there's not currently an official community forum on the Extensis website, and customer support for Fusion is not available by phone. Overall, though, Suitcase Fusion is a powerhouse font management solution that's time-tested and used by many professionals. If you're ready for a premium solution that integrates a wide variety of newer design programs and offers cloud sync, this is definitely worth exploring. Next up, we have Font Explorer. It's another premium solution that's been around for many, many years. It's available for a one-time fee of $99 US and offers a 30-day free trial. The pros here: again, works with Mac or PC and offers easy organization and activation, has auto activation for Adobe programs all the way back to CS6 and Quark Express from 9.0 forward, detects issues such as duplicates and other conflicts, includes font previews and printable type specimens. You can create sets and again organize by style, project, or any other custom parameters. Includes advanced features like font matching and pairing suggestions. And your purchase comes with 7 complete font families, which is a total of 38 fonts. For the cons, the software updates generally require additional cost, unless they happen within a very short time frame of your purchase. There is no integration with Procreate or Affinity products. Although font backup is included, there is no cloud sync functionality. Customer service is available via an online form. Overall, Font Explorer is an incredibly robust premium solution that maintains an easy-to-use interface. The one-and-done cost is especially attractive for those using older Adobe software who don't require font access across multiple devices. These are both great solutions, and the right choice will be determined by your specific needs. If you're considering going premium, I suggest downloading the trials to discover which one will work best for you and your workflow. For many designers, a free font management solution will be all that's needed. There are third-party options like Fontbase, which can be especially useful for Windows users, as Windows does not come with a native font management solution. Fontbase's functionality is very similar to Apple's Fontbook. Macs come with Fontbook pre-installed. It's a simple program, but it really is more robust than it initially appears to be. So if we open up Fontbook, we can see that to the left of each font name is an arrow. Clicking on it will reveal any available styles within that font family, and as you click on each name, you'll see a font preview to the right. New fonts are easily installed by double-clicking the font file and choosing Install, or by clicking on the plus sign at the top of the Fontbook window and navigating to the location of the font file. Fonts can be enabled or disabled by selecting a font name, then clicking the box next to the plus sign. Enabled fonts are bright, and disabled fonts are dark. Fontbook uses collections, smart collections, and libraries to help you organize. On the left side of the Fontbook window, you'll see a set of default collections. You can add to these or delete them and create your own. Adding and deleting a collection does not add or delete a font. It's strictly a way to organize the master list of fonts that will remain under all fonts. To delete an existing collection, right or control-click on the icon and choose Delete. To add a new collection, go to File, New Collection, then type in a name and press Enter. Your new collection will appear in the list under Collection. To populate a collection, you can manually search file folders, which is pretty easy since we've already organized those, and simply drag the font into the collection window while the correct collection name is highlighted. Or you can go to the list of all fonts and drag fonts from there into the new collection. Above Collections, you'll see a section called Smart Collection. It's pre-populated with English, fixed width, and handwriting. Smart Collections work off criteria that you select from a list of options instead of being a manual process like Collections. To create a new Smart Collection, go to File, New Smart Collection. A window will open that lets us name the Smart Collection and then set criteria. I'm going to name this one Condensed, then select Design Style is Condensed and click OK. As you can see, it will automatically populate with any available condensed fonts. Smart Collections can be as simple or complicated as you want to get. You can type in your own specifications, input multiple sets of criteria, just have fun playing with the options, and remember that it won't affect the actual font files. They'll still be listed under all fonts, so it's totally safe to experiment. Another thing I think a lot of designers overlook that's really cool and useful is that you can filter and favorite fonts within your design software. So we'll start by looking at Adobe Photoshop. Select the text tool. In either the character palette or in the options bar at the top of the screen, click on the arrow to the right of the font name, and that'll open the full font list. Next to Filter, we'll have a drop-down list to search by classification. Unfortunately, you are currently limited to the existing classes provided by Adobe and can't enter your own custom classes. You can also search by simply typing the font name or other descriptor used in the name, such as variable, while the font list is open. Another handy feature is Favorites. To the left of each font family name is a star outline. Clicking the star will turn it into a filled star and add it to your favorites list. You can view favorites by clicking the star at the top of the font list. A font can be removed from favorites by clicking the filled star, returning it back to an outline. You'll also be able to filter by similar font, although with varying degrees of success. With the font highlighted, click the wavy equal sign to find fonts similar to it. Adobe Illustrator's character palette has much of the same functionality as Photoshop when it comes to filtering fonts. You'll notice a different interface for selecting classification and an additional section for properties. Affinity products come with similar font filtering capabilities such as viewing recent, used, and favorites. Favorites are marked by a heart icon that can be easily turned on and off with a single click of the icon next to the font name. You can also search using font name or any descriptor used within the font names. To get you started with your newly organized font life, we've put together a zip file that includes a pre-made folder structure. Use this as a starting point and make whatever adjustments you need to fit your collection in the way that you will best remember how to find it. I hope you're looking forward to getting your fonts organized and easy to find. Once you get your current fonts into an organized system, it really is easy to maintain and add new fonts. And let us know what's working best for you. It might well benefit the rest of the Design Cuts community too. Thanks for watching.